Hi, I'm Lisa Ortiz, the voice of Amy Rose, and you're watching G to the Next Level. And keep your hand off my Sonic. That's all.
Sonic, the myth, the legend, the blue blur that's been racing through our hearts for over 25 years now, has become quite a polarizing figure in video game history, I would say. When talking with both casual and hardcore fans alike, you could see how opinions about the quality of his games throughout the years has been what I would say is a roller coaster ride, with plenty of extreme ups, plenty of extreme downs, and some questionably shaky spots in between. Up until the fantastic Sonic Mania came out last year, it could be argued that the popular outlook of the blue blur was one of animosity, with many people saying that Sonic hasn't made a good game in 20 years, 2D Sonic only please, and my personal favorite, Sonic's never been good. I'll be the first to acknowledge that there are some bad Sonic games, like a bunch of them. But when most people think of the good Sonic games, they normally go straight to either the original Genesis games, the Sonic Adventure series, and, well, not much else. Which is unfortunate, because outside of those classics, there are some fun and, dare I say it, fantastic games that I believe through Sonic's sordid life, people probably passed over due to either that animosity, the games being on an obscure console, or perhaps just bad timing. So welcome everybody to my debut episode of Level 10, my countdown series. And what better subject to start with than to highlight some games from my favorite video game character of all time that you may not know are worth a shot. I'm G, welcome to the next level, and on today's Level 10, we're going to take a look at 10 Sonic the Hedgehog games that you probably skipped, that you really shouldn't. Let's go! Starting off at number 10, it's Knuckles Chaotix on the 32X. Now this game made it barely because I feel that more people have played it more than the other games we'll feature today, but it got the 10 spot mostly because it was released on the 32X, which was the Doom from the Start console add-on for the Sega Genesis. But beyond that, Knuckles Chaotix is one of the shining gems of the console. Starting off, it's a prototype Genesis game called Sonic Crackers that involves Sonic and Tails tied together by a sparkling invisible tandem. It evolved into Knuckles Chaotix and introduced a motley crew of new characters with Knuckles at the lead, Vector the Crocodile, Charmy the Bee, Espio the Chameleon, and Red Sonic, Mighty the Armadillo. More on him later. While it feels like a Sonic game at its core, you have to use the tandem rings in unique ways, whether it's to solve puzzles, tweak physics to maneuver around the stage. It's incredibly colorful too. The stage environments do a great job of keeping you amped while moving a bit slower than other Sonic games. It's a fairly easy game, but it's that nice change of pace from the other 2D games in the franchise that really sets it apart. You know what, it may seem odd to enjoy a Sonic game that can be described as relaxing, but that's why it's so different, and dare I say it, misunderstood. Also, the soundtrack of Knuckles Chaotix is absolutely phenomenal. It is without a doubt my favorite Sonic game soundtrack ever. Seriously, ever. If you can, give Knuckles Chaotix a shot. Go Team Chaotix! Sonic's spin-off multiplayer games are collectively made up of hits and misses. Sonic Shuffle on the Dreamcast immediately comes to mind. But what happens when you make a Sonic arena brawler like a Super Smash Bros. Or a Power Stone style game? You get Sonic Battle, which gets the number 9 spot. It's fairly simple. Choose your fighter, choose your moveset, and go kick some tail. The graphics and animation are pretty well done, about on par with the Sonic Advance series of games, and the soundtrack is great too. Lots of characters to choose from as well, so if you ever had any grand debates on who would win in a fight between Cream the Rabbit and Amy Rose, they got you, fam. Now, it's not without its flaws. It is fairly basic. The collision detection is a bit iffy at times, and having cooldowns so you can switch movesets before respawning are a little bit annoying. I wish you could just keep the same options through battle. But it's a fairly inexpensive and fun battler, especially in multiplayer. Now, if only Sega had made a real Super Smash Bros. Clone with Sega franchise characters. I mean, Sony did it with PlayStation AllStars Battle Royale. I mean, there's still time, Sega. But regardless, Sonic Battle on the Game Boy Advance is certainly worth owning in your collection. There was a time when it seemed like every major gaming mascot had to have a kart racing game. Of course, Mario, Pac-Man, Crash Bandicoot, and even Bomberman got his own kart racing game. But before Sonic and his crew could get a quality kart racing game, and we'll get to that later, Sega tried something a little different for our spiky hedgehog, a hoverboard racer called Sonic Riders, which was decent enough, but its sequel, and number 8 on this list, Sonic Riders Zero Gravity, is pretty good. The controls do take some getting used to, and yes, you have to play through the long and confusing story mode to unlock everything. But you can tell Sega was trying something new for Sonic with the Riders series, and for the most part, they didn't do too bad. The stages are brimming with color and action, the breakneck speed and the fluid frame rate, all of it just fits, and there's different types of board combinations you can use for your racer to do your best to keep you coming back for more. And is it just me, or does anybody else get an F-Zero GX vibe from this game, right down to the music? I mean, perhaps Sonic Team was a bit inspired when making Zero Gravity. I mean, F-Zero GX was co-developed by Sega after all, so, I mean, who knows? Still worth trying out, though. But whatever you do not play the Wii version of Sonic Riders Zero Gravity. The motion controls absolutely kill the experience. But hey, at least it's not as bad as... Dropping in at lucky number 7, it's Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on the Master System. Now, I'm sure you've played Sonic 2 on the Game Gear. After all, it is one of the highest selling games on Sega's flagship portable, but have you played the PAL-exclusive Master System version? I talked about this game recently for My Life in Gaming's Wii Virtual Shop episode, and I still can't praise this game enough. The Game Gear Sonic 2 is definitely one of my favorite games in the franchise, and taking that and formatting it for a TV and not on a tiny blurry portable screen nearly makes it feel like a whole new experience. It moves quickly, controls well, the music and graphics are fantastic, and he even added new elements to Sonic that he didn't have yet, such as mine carts, hang gliders, and even bubbles to float in. The hang gliders and the bubble controls do take a little bit of getting used to, but it's still a unique break from the normal action. It's pretty challenging too, especially since the bosses require you to take them out without any rings and they can get very tough. And yep, Fan's Green Hill Zone is in this game too. Though I don't recall Green Hill having this many spike traps in it. Jeez. If you can find this Master System gem, don't pass it up. Master System games have no region locking, and Sonic 2 works perfectly with the Power Base converter and with the Retro Freak and the Retron 5 Master System converter, so go for it. Heading back to portables for number 6 on this countdown. Oh, the poor Neo Geo Pocket Color. You never stood a chance against the Game Boy juggernaut, but I love you all the same. While it may have been a commercial flop, its selection of games was pretty stellar, making it one of my favorite portable systems of all time. But it is also dear to my heart because it brought us one of the most surprisingly good Sonic portable games ever, and number 6 on this list, Sonic the Hedgehog Pocket Adventure. Something of a hybrid of the stages of the Genesis Sonic 2 with the visual style of Sonic 3, Sonic Pocket Adventure really stands out because of its brisk sense of speed for a portable and faithful renditions of iconic stages and music tracks. The game is slightly modified and works excellently on the Pocket Color screen, although it's a little bit of an odd choice of music tracks, taking the ones from Sonic 3 and placing them in Sonic 2 stages, but meh. Not to mention, it has a wonderful rendition of the iconic Sonic 2 bonus stage, which I know must have been tough for them to do on a portable at that time. Here, take a look at it in comparison to the Genesis game. The SNK did an excellent job here. Sonic controls silky smooth in this game too, particularly due to SNK's trademark control pad on the Pocket Color that works like a champ. It's a rock-solid port that came at a time when portable Sonic games had kinda gone off the rails from the Game Gear days. Perhaps it was this game that was the foundation for the excellent Sonic Advance trilogy on the Game Boy Advance. The Neo Geo Pocket Color is a forgotten jewel of the system, so if you do pick one up or if you have one already, add Sonic Pocket Adventure to it. You won't regret it. I really should do a Neo Geo Pocket episode someday. What do you think? Before we get to number 5, I have a confession to make. I'm not a mobile phone gamer. Not in the least. Aside from the occasional Pokemon Go hunt with my wife, I'm just not that much into them. I mean, more power too if you like them, I'm not hating on you, but they mostly just don't do anything for me. After trying out the other 2 major Sonic mobile games, Sonic Dash and Sonic Jump, which are basically rip-offs of Temple Run and Doodle Jump, the last thing I wanted to touch was yet another Sonic mobile game. And then I tried the number 5 spot on this list. Runners is the closest to a 2D Sonic, and Sega got that on mobile aside from their ports of the Genesis games, which are now in favor of Sega forever, but it all made sense on who developed Runners. Yep, Sonic Team themselves developed it. Nice. Yes, it's an auto-run platformer, but that's why it works so well in that 2D space. You don't have to worry about awkward touchscreen controls, you just tap the screen to jump. The graphics are beautiful, the music is fantastic, the amount of characters and Easter eggs for the fans, just the amount that you could do for free isn't too limited, which increases its replayability. That sense of speed is spot on. Wow, they got it. This really is a real Sonic mobile game. They finally made a great one. So, like you would, I got addicted and I wanted more, but then Sega shut down the servers, making the game unplayable. But then the sequel arrived, Sonic Runner's Adventure, which recently released in the US, so maybe I'll see your scores online. Hopefully people won't skip it this time. Now I'm going to cheat a little bit with the number 4 game on this list because, yes, it is a fan-made Sonic game, but it's so good that I can't skip it purely on it being unofficial. This is Sonic Time Twisted for the PC by Overbound Games. Crafting the game for 12 years before finally releasing it last year, Time Twisted takes the familiar time-traveling formula of Sonic CD and gives it a shot of caffeine. In this game, Eggman, or Dr. Robotnik, whatever you call him, is nowhere to be found, and your main villain is the always awesome Metal Sonic, who is out to snatch all the time stones in order to bring back his former master. I have to say, I absolutely love the art direction they went with this game. There are so many little details to spot, like how Sonic's sprite rotates when he runs up curved walls, the seeds that plant flowers when you take on an enemy like Sonic CD, or stuff like leaving a burn trail when you're running with a fire shield. You even have a few new shields, like a free shield that shoots ice daggers, a tornado shield that spins you upward to get to higher players, and a rotating rock shield, which, okay, that one's not that great, but oh well. Great level design, a superb sense of speed, loads of levels to enjoy, colorful graphics, and an excellent soundtrack. You can absolutely see the amount of love the team at Overbound has for Sonic. The game is free, and if you have the means to run it, I highly recommend giving it a shot. There are tons of fan-made Sonic games out there, and maybe I'll get to them sometime, but right now, this is the one that really stood out to me. And now something a little different for number 3. I'm sure you're familiar with the bonus stages from Sonic 3 and Sonic & Knuckles called Blue Sphere, where if Sonic collects all the blue spheres on the circular pseudo 3D stage, he gets a Chaos Emerald. We all know about Sonic & Knuckles' revolutionary lock-on technology that added a playable Knuckles to Sonic 2, adds him to Sonic 3, which allows you to play the entire story as him, and who could forget that commercial?
So we sold the whole thing to Sega?
Who's laughing now? Batman!
Sega.
But did you know that Blue Sphere has its own game? Yep, and it's number 3 on this list. If you try to lock on any other game in Sonic & Knuckles, well, ones that are 2 megabytes in size or less, you're rewarded with the screen with our titular cast, and text that scrolls at the top that says, "No way, no way, no way, no way?" I remember as a kid seeing that "no way" with a question mark scroll across, and thinking to myself that there has to be something hidden there. And sure enough, if you press A, B, and C together, it unlocks a Blue Sphere bonus stage for you and has a special code that's unique to the cart. However, if you lock on the original Sonic the Hedgehog or the Sonic's Classics compilation cart, notice the characters on the No Way screen are in full color, and when you press A, B, and C together, you unlock the full Blue Sphere game, which consists of a slew of randomly generated stages with various levels of challenge for you to conquer. It can get frustrating at times, yes, but once you're used to the speed, learn the patterns, and get efficient in collecting the rings and spheres, it is an absolute blast. I love Blue Sphere so much. Heck, learning how to maximize the points in Blue Sphere, that was my secret weapon when I competed in the Blockbuster Game Championship in 1994 that I talked about in my 3 gaming items that I'm proud to own video. But if you don't have the original cartridges, you can also play the full Blue Sphere game on the Sonic Mega Collections, the Sonic & Knuckles Collection on the PC, or on Sonic Jam for the Saturn. And of course, Blue Sphere made its big comeback in Sonic Mania. So no matter how you play it, definitely recommend it. Considering how mobile-focused Sega is, I'm shocked that this hasn't become a smartphone app. Seriously. What? No way, you say? Yes way, I say. Not only the best competitor to Mario Kart as a kart racing game, but just simply one of the best racing games out there, Sonic and AllStars Racing Transform is outstanding, and that's why it gets the number 2 spot on this list. The redundancy of Sonic driving a car aside, AllStars Racing Transform, which is developed by Sumo Digital, is just a wonderful game. The first Sonic and Sega AllStars Racing was fantastic enough, but this sequel improved on it in nearly every way. The speed, the controls, the amount of characters and stages, all of which are filled to the brim with Sega fan service and stages based off of Jet Set Radio, Afterburner, Panzer Dragoon, and even Skies of Arcadia. But the biggest improvement comes in, as the title says, the transformations. Why stay on the ground when you can transform your vehicle and take to the air in a plane? Or blast through the waves on the boat? The transformations are so seamless and the controls and speed are every bit as good in all 3 cases. It's just so satisfying knowing that you're about to transform and you do a flip trick while transforming and get a boost for it. Transform boost! So freaking cool. I just kept playing all the different modes like Traffic Attack, Drift Race, Battle Mode, just to see what other Sega goodies I could unlock. And there are loads of it. Transformed is an outstanding game no matter what console you pick it up for. I was informed in the comment section of my Sonic Collection video that the PC version runs at 60 frames per second, which I didn't know about and I just picked up a copy, so thanks for the tip, 8-Bit DNA. Unfortunately, Sega did barely any kind of promoting for Transformed when it was released. It came out on a random Sunday, well at least in the US, near Thanksgiving, and I don't recall seeing many adverts or anywhere near the hype that the first game got. So it just kinda came out and fell off the radar. But if you're a fan of kart racing games, and especially if you're a Sega and Sonic fan, you need this game. The first game was great, but Sonic and All-Stars Transformed is an absolute must-own. And with the upcoming new racer that Sega is teasing, the future's looking bright for more racing goodness. Hot Rod. So, what forgotten Sonic game topped this list? Well, for that answer, we're going to the arcade. It's time to chalk up your trackball skills and get ready to go fast with Sega Sonic the Hedgehog. As a kid, I remember reading about this game in magazines and getting so hyped and excited, but being sad that no arcades around me ever had one. But while I was in high school, my family moved and somehow a local arcade up there had one, and it blew my mind. Starring our favorite blue hedgehog and 2 new buddies of his, Ray the Flying Squirrel and Mighty the Armadillo, which as a kid, I always forgot his name before he reappeared in Knuckles Chaotix, so I just called him Red Sonic. I mean, wouldn't you? It's a 3-player isometric platformer which used trackball controls, and it was done extremely well. Think of it as a cross between Sonic and Marble Madness, but at its core, it's Sonic at his best. Run as fast as you can, escape the hazards that Eggman tosses at you, and collect as many rings as you can along the way. But sometimes you gotta slow down and figure out the dangers ahead before the spikes, lava, ice, water damages, or whatever danger catches up to you because it's just so intense. It's very challenging, but never unfair. It even has multiple endings, but to this day, I still have yet to get the good ending. Allegedly, Sega never made a home conversion of this game because they claimed that they couldn't find a feasible way to bring the trackball controls home. But if you think about it, Sega made the sports trackpad controller on the Master System, so a port could have been possible. And if you really think about it, we did get 2 isometric Sonic games on home consoles, the mediocre Sonic 3D Blast and the absolutely abysmal Sonic Labyrinth on the Game Gear. So maybe I could see why they never thought to do a home port later on. Such a crying shame that Sega Sonic never made it home, but if you have a means to play it, you absolutely need to. And with the inclusion of a playable Ray and Mighty in the upcoming Sonic Mania Plus, this is prime time for Sega to bring the game back. Or include it as an unlockable in Sonic Mania Plus? Just saying, Sega. Hey, Red Sonic would approve. So yeah, those are 10 Sonic the Hedgehog games that may have been skipped that I feel deserve a little bit of time to shine. So, and hey, are there any Sonic games that you enjoyed that you feel got passed over or maybe unjustly panned throughout the years? Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, and you can always find me on social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at G to the Next Level. I'm G, and
I'm out of here.